Check, audio check. Check, audio check. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Taking a second to look into everything I can just bury beneath all the hate and the good in the way that they want to just make me believe in anything they can conceive. Keep it inside and break with the flow.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show called DYOR Live here on this Friday, September 5th, 2025. Welcome to the Friday wrap-up show of DYOR Live. We've been live all week, and it's Friday. It's Fun Friday. It's Great Friday. It's Jobs Friday. It's Jobs Friday, ladies and gentlemen. The jobs report came out. God, it sounds like the movie Trading Places. Waiting for that orange crop report, the weather report for the orange crop. The jobs report came out. Not so good, ladies and gentlemen. Not so good. The jobs market continues to show weakness. Not only that, they're revising the numbers for October or August down. And I think they're going to do it a couple of more times too, or a couple of more months back over the next couple of days. September or August. Getting the months confused. It is September now, but the number released at the beginning of August is being revised down 21,000 jobs. In this month, the expectation was 75,000 growth. We got minus 22,000. Not good. The market took it in stride. The market, I think, was anticipating it. The market is down significantly. Let's see if it's recovered since then. The Dow is just down 200 points. S&P down 24. NASDAQ down 27. No big deal there. Volatility is even close to being unchanged, only at 2%. And so there's not really the market took this in stride, as they say. Anyway, this is normally when I would introduce my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia. He is not with us right now. I don't know where he is, but I'm sure he'll show up. I'm seeing an eye-popping number on the screen. Show up here eventually. I'm looking over at the CNBC. It says Tesla's nearly $1 trillion new pay plan for Musk would expand his voting power. And my brain can't even comprehend that. Anyway, trying something new today. We've been working on trying to stay on schedule and running a new agenda, as they say. like a run of show agenda type thing. It's working pretty cool. Unfortunately, I'm running late, and B, Pedro isn't here to join us. Anyway, let's hit, I've got a minute left in this segment. Let's hit the social media here thing and ask everyone to do what we always ask them to do. Fire Chicken says, should I put some of my own BTC on USDC now so I can rebuy at 105? I'm not going to tell you what to do that. Oh, that's the little jizz from yesterday. I thought Fire Chicken was asking. Fire Chicken has some good news here. I don't know if it populated here. It must have been before I opened the chat session. Fire Chicken has been listed on CoinGecko, so we'll be able to bring that up later. You know what? I'm going to start off the show just talking about that right now. How about that? How about that? While I wait for Pedro, I'm going to bring up the Fire Chicken. Let me go to CoinGecko here and type in Fire Chicken. Look at that. It's the first one, Fire Chicken. Chuck, congratulations. I don't own nearly enough of this, and I need to buy it. Let's see what it gave you. Oh, look at that. It gave you an API ID of, guess what? Fire Chicken. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we are entertaining one of our long-term viewers right now by going over his project called Fire Chicken. It just got listed on CoinGecko. Those days used to be super pumps, and we would triple, quadruple, whatever it was. Now it's just like, okay, now you're legitimate. All right, so let's get Fire Chicken out here and bring him up. All right, let's get rid of the ghast here. Let's play some yeah, yeah, yeah. Stream Deck is highly unorganized right now. I see Pedro coming on there. For some reason, I can't hear Pedro. Hold on one second, Pedro, and I'll be right with you there. Pedro's screen. Oop, the Fire Chicken's got too many zeros. Need to fix that. There we go. There's the Fire Chicken. All right, everybody, give me a second here while I bring up Senor Pedro here. Don't know why I can't hear him. Pedro, I think your mic is live now.
Awesome. So you guys can hear me right now? Just Tom can't.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, excellent.
I can.
Excellent. And can you feel the love tonight? All right. Awesome, man. The numbers came out crazy today.
Hold on. I was just mentioning talking about that, but I was switched over to talking about Fire Chicken here. Let me bring up the Fire Chicken got listed on CoinGecko.
Nice.
Overnight. Market cap of 158,000. So once it's on CoinGecko, it comes up on the great graphics machine here, even with the logo and everything here, because it's in the API.
Awesome.
Let's bring up Fire Chicken's chart. Why don't you do that? Yes. And on that note, Chuck Jansen, thank you very much. Celebrating CoinGecko with my favorite people. Thanks to the whole community, and special thanks to Tom and Pedro. May DYOR Media Network continue to grow, and he gives us the $20 Rumble rant. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to all of you that have participated in the Fire Chicken project, because it has brought great profits to its owners so far, and also to DYOR Media. So thank you very much, Chuck. That $20 will go to, I am more than guessing I'm going to take that and buy Fire Chicken with it.
Let's
Mikester,
go.
welcome to the show. Mikester says, what is Fire Chicken, and was it used for? Well, there's a good question, but our loyal viewer here, Fire Chicken in the comments, otherwise known as Chuck Jansen, runs a meme coin called Fire Chicken, but they focus on education. They do a lot of content creation on education about crypto and stuff like that. And it's not just a regular old meme coin. They do provide a lot of good posts. They post a lot of good things teaching people about crypto, things that Pedro and I should be doing, really.
Yeah, I was going to say it.
They post in our TG room a lot, so that the knowledge goes both ways.
They do.
I don't know what chart you have up there, Pedro.
And give me 1 second. Let me pull up Hyperliquid. And we are going to do Fire Chicken. F-I-R-A. Fire. There it is. Look at that. Awesome. Let's go. Live chart. Y'all see it right here. Look at it live. I'm hyped. Look at it, dude. Nice. He said that, and they just started doing this, and they have the whole entire actual chart. Impressive. Absolutely impressive. Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Fire Chicken chart here, you can see over on the graph next to me here, market cap of 158,000. Look at, I got the jacket on here. I'm looking pretty good today, Pedro.
Yeah, you do.
Big boobies here from doing push-ups. Look at that. Market cap 158,000. 24-hour volume of 2,328, up 3.2.1% here. On I'm going to do the Jim Cramer thing, and I think, this is a dog. Don't buy it. You don't want to stay away from gotta stay away from Fire Chicken, as Cramer would say. Gotta stay away from it. Which means it's gonna auto pump. It's just going to pump.
Auto pump. Let's go. Alrighty then, let's go. Alrighty, here we go. Boom. Okay. Real interesting about these guys. I think one thing I like about when it comes to Fire Chicken is that they are consistently giving good data. Like, that's the part that's so cool, is like anybody can be a meme coin, right? And a lot of times though, like the actual data that they give out or whatever, you're like, I don't know about that one. But one thing about Fire Chicken, and they're so conscious of this, is making sure they're giving good information out when it comes to educating people. And that in itself is just a rarity, right? It's a huge rarity. So shout out to what they're doing here real quick. And let me pull this up. One of the things that I think most people don't realize as well as when it comes to Fire Chicken is that a lot of times, a lot of the people are, when it comes to meme coins, they will not dox themselves or whatever. And what's cool about Fire Chicken is that the CEO is doxed, and he's open, and he's been in crypto for a long time. And I feel like as if it's one of those things that it just makes sense that it's going to prosper because of literally the idea that people
just the idea that people have a developer team that's involved and out there, and it's not just a random numbskull in the Netherlands. A Netherlands numbskull. And it's a real group of people. They're here every day talking about it on the show. And as always, Patreon and I do own a little bit of Fire Chicken, so we have a vested interest in seeing its success. But more importantly, we know that the Fire Chicken team there has been working in crypto for a long time, and they deserve some success on their own, even if we're not involved in it. They deserve some success. Chuck has been in the crypto business for a long time, even including mining Litecoin. Litecorn, as we like to call it on this show, and he deserves some success. He had some mild success with the original DYOR token. Well, we all did, but we didn't fully capitalize on it. Now it's time to fully capitalize on Fire Chicken, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's enough Fire Chicken for now, Pedro. Let's switch back over to Bitcoin.
Right.
and get to go and see if we can get back on schedule here. Congratulations, Chuck, on all of that.
Let's go. Yes. All right. So BTC is doing exactly what we've been talking about. What we wanted it to do. We wanted to go down first at the beginning of the month, right? We came up into our area here, and we saw on the daily chart that it came up into that area. We saw the sell-off. I talked about I wanted to see go up a little higher. I talked yesterday when Tom was in his trade. I said, well, if it goes down first at the beginning of this period, I'd expect it to go up. Now, many of you guys know I talk about how there are 3 sections in the market that correlate to the day. And those 3 sections are the Asian market open and close. You have the London and Asian market handoff. And then you have the open of the London. And then from there, it trades all day. And then from there, you have the American handoff from the London handoff. And then at a point in time, and ICT trades teaches this, so it's really important to understand. You can catch this there. If you want to understand what I'm talking about, it's as quick as like just checking out the London Open and all the other time frame opens, and then you can understand what I'm saying here. Because at that period in time, you have the handoff happening. And that handoff is happening and finishing up. So a lot of times they will continue a more market down or up movement, and then they'll switch it up and then they'll push it down. So if at the beginning of that hourly switch over, if I see price going down, I'm going to expect price then to then continue up later on. And so when Tom went short there, I said, well, if you look at it, I'd expect it to go down.
Oop, I think you said on your microphone there, Pedro.
What?
You said we lost you when you said Tom something.
Oh, Tom wisely decided to go ahead and not continue with his short, and decided to capture his money and then kind of get out, and which was smart because, like I said, at that period in time, you want to understand the positions, which I've talked about this multiple times. Every candle and every time frame has to have, majority of the time, a bottom wick, which is what I call a buyer wick or demand wick. You have the body, and then you have the supply wick, or as I call the seller wick. And so if I see candles without supply wicks and I see demand wicks coming in, that's an indication to me that's saying, hey, it's most likely going to go up, but it's going down first to go up, and it's transitioning on a higher time frame. And so when I see, let's say the hour show me 2 candles of no supply wick, right, which is right here. I'm going to show this here real quick.
Can you make that a little bigger so we can see it?
Yeah.
This is important for you guys in the audience. And this is, even though I've been talking to Pedro about this for 2 years, this is one that I just kind of manifested itself into my head about not just looking at what happened in the past, but by using those wicks to kind of give yourself an edge on where it's going in the future.
Mm-hmm. And so you can see here, I've talked about this ad nauseum, and I've now finally figured out a way to communicate it in a way to get people to understand. Because it's not the student's fault, it's the teacher's fault if the student isn't getting it. And I'm a huge proponent for that. And so you can see here,
it's your fault. It's not my fault. Blame the victim.
Yes. So you can see here that we have smaller supply wicks, but you can see here that you also have demand wick, and demand wick, but no supply wick, small baby supply wick. And then this is what started off the sell-off, right, to go down. So I would sit there and go, well, the handoff just happened on this candle where London got out of the market, and now the Americans are now taking over. And so it's been short, and there's a lot of stops sitting right here and right here, which is basically the Asian market opening and the London market opening. And so they want to capture that liquidity there. And so this is why you always hear me say, if it goes down first in the evening, before the market opens up, I expect to see a rebound, a pullback. And so that's what we saw here. And then we saw them communicate. If they're pushing up the market, this is why I said I expect the jobs market, right, to be really bad, right? And so I said, this is going to be the area that I want to see a pullback coming into, because on a larger time frame, this is a weekly area. So the market moves from week to week and it creates a monthly area. We're not in the position here yet to get in on the monthly, but we are in a position to get in on the transition to the weekly area. So you can see how this is last week high, okay, and we sold off to a liquidity area right here. We captured that liquidity, and now, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is because when you look at the weekly chart and that candle, we're creating the demand wick, the body of the candle, and the supply wick, or the seller's wick and the buyer wick. And so when you understand that it goes from liquidity point to liquidity point, which is based of candles and bodies of candles, you can play the liquidity points of where it should go, and you'll see good reactions and where price is wanting to go. So yesterday, when I was talking with Tom saying, you're handing off for the London market to the American market. London market's been pushing it down, creating the demand wick, where it's now going to turn around and go up, and that creates that demand wick. We'd already captured the supply, or excuse me, all the buyers right here. So now they got to bring in sellers. And so they're pushing it up to take it down. And they're going to use big time frames. And so when you look at the weekly chart, right, you can see here that they ran it all the way up to the demand or the supply wick here on the weekly chart. Which then, once they receive that area, then they want to bring it back down again. And there's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting right here. And so it's creating the supply wick, the demand wick, and the body for the week. And so you can play that on multiple time frames. And the biggest key is to understand when the handoffs are happening, which is set up around 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You have 2 o'clock on the Western Standard, or like around 2-3 o'clock from Asian Open to the London. And then you have the Asian Open itself, you see the handoff. It's a smaller move, but you can see it happening because it plays and it pulls liquidity typically from the American Opens. And so you can see how the handoff happens there. Does that make sense? Or did I say too many words and I lose you in the word salad?
Well, I'm pretty sure I understand what you're talking about, because I kind of got it the other day. But the reinforcing the demand wicks at the beginning of the couple of candles ago, where you showed all of the supply wicks, and then it brought it down, and then there were no more supply wicks, but there were demand wicks. That's something I don't natively see. That's not something that obviously takes practice to see that. Just
train your eye. It's really just training your eye to sit there and say, yeah, it really is. It's that annoying. But one of the first things that I look at before, part of my 89 steps that I look to before is there room for me, if I'm going to go long here because we have the handoff happening, is there going to be any resistance against me? And there's two types of resistance. You have dynamic resistance, which is moving resistance through the moving averages. And then you have static resistance or support that will come in, which is the zones. And now ICT teaches about fair value gaps. He uses order blocks and things like that. I use a couple of things. I use liquidity points, which is what he talks about. And I actually use supply and demand zones. And I correlate those with moving averages, which allows me in my trading style to be able to initiate on the correct timing of that trade. Because you can, like I said yesterday, you can be in a correct trend and thinking it's going to go down, but if your timing is off, then you're going to get stopped out. This is why Tom Bilyeu always talks about literally that people can't day trade, because they don't understand the nuances of how important the timing is, because most people don't understand the internal metrics of the day trading day. They get stuck on that 5-minute chart and don't think that there's other, like you need to have higher time frames and how they correlate with the smaller time frames. And you want to sync those things together, kind of like how a cloth is made. You have string that go this way and you have strings that go this way, right? And so that's how your timing works. You have your time, which is like a left to right in time progression, right? And then you have the upwards market part, which is basically in a cloth. And you can see when they come together, this is what gives you actual price action. Price action is based off of technicals, right? This is why they pay now technicians and a lot of the firms more money, because they can turn a good trade or a bad trade into a profitable trade. Right. And so that's what's really important to understand. What's up, man? How am I? Let's go into Bitcoin here. So now we're watching Bitcoin sell off. And we're watching it where there's really no supply wick here. You can see here it just kind of dropped off the job disaster. We've talked about how they've been lying about the job reports, and now they're actually starting to report it. We've talked about how the movement of the market has been sporadic, literally because now you're having people step in and saying, yeah, these are the actual real numbers. And I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I want to add that many people in the industry who are fundamentalists were already talking about how payroll reports, as well as the ISM reports, as well as what else? Some of the other reports that I can't think of right now. Jobs or increased jobs reports have been just hit on and then revised for 6 months to a year, all the way down. And the biggest screamer that we talked about, that this was at the beginning of the year when Biden was leaving, right? That the last report that they gave was it was a shadow of what they had been already giving out. And so it was one of those moments, a small high noon shadow of what they had been given out based off of jobs production, right? That things are actually being produced, real jobs being created. And they were using gig jobs to really sustain, well, we're seeing money coming into the market because of this. And that's what that was a fake indicator of the real movements that was happening in the market. And so it was all based off of false numbers. So now that Trump got rid of the person who puts together the numbers, it's going to be really interesting to see, are they going to keep continuing giving correct numbers out? Because if he does, one thing that's going to happen is that you're going to see a push up. You will see a sell-off first, a hard sell-off, and then you will see real numbers starting to come in, a healthy metric that will actually start to emerge in the U.S. economy. We'll start to see real manufacturing jobs come in as China implodes, because as we implode, it reverberates on an exponential level throughout the rest of the world, because we buy everybody's crap. And as
we do.
Am I talking too much here, or is this?
Well, apparently you didn't see my text I sent you earlier today in my Telegram link.
No, I did. I actually did. I just forgot to put it up. I'll put it up right now. Sorry about that.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a commercial break right now. We'll be back in 3 minutes. If it ever goes to it. Please, for the love of God. There we go.
Please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Really appreciate the time that you spent on what we call the bio break time and food replenishment break time. Anyway, welcome to, if I can get this right here. Welcome to DYOR Live here. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. The man, I don't know why it did that. That was not the right one. But anyway, let's, it like defaults to that one when things don't work right for someone. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, big news today, the jobs report and all that type of stuff. 45,000 for the Dow Jones, which is down only 260. S&P down only 30. NASDAQ down 42. Russell 2K is up a little bit, and the VIX is very close to being unchanged. So for the markets, ultimately, Pedro, it seemed to be priced in, was kind of a nothing burger for them. Really, if you're a short-term trader on the minute and the 5-minute chart, there was some wackiness on Bitcoin and NASDAQ. But if you're looking at the 4-hour chart or the daily chart, today's news didn't even phase you. It was long-term pricing, and it's already priced in. So from a trading perspective, not a big deal. From an economic perspective, a much bigger deal, as they say. I'm just gonna there. I just jumped right to the next section there. If you notice on our schedule, we have this new thing we're working on, ladies and gentlemen, to try and keep us on topic and on schedule. Anyway, welcome to the second half hour of DYOR Live here. Pedro, that jobs report came out. It was expected to be 75,000 up. It came in 22,000 down.
Down, yeah.
So about 100,000 jobs swing from the estimate to the actual. I'm guessing the Bureau of Labor Statistics was conservative, and didn't want to overinflate things so that maybe in a future month they would have to revise things up for the first time ever. But they also released the previous month, the reporting they did at the beginning of August, they released saying, hey, we were minus 27,000 jobs, and revised that number too. And one of the most interesting things, Pedro, was that 15 minutes before the numbers were supposed to come out, the BLS's automated system for you non-Americans, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, automated system for releasing this stuff, it's quite complicated because they don't want anyone to have an eyes on the number in the release process. They don't want a web programmer programming it because then he's on his phone with his buddies saying buy and sell options. Their system crashed. I was watching Howard Lutnick, who, as the Secretary of Commerce, is the boss of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the news reporter on Bloomberg said, hey, did you know your whole system crashed? And he didn't, but he was so smooth, Pedro. He just said, yep, and that's why we fired the previous commissioner or director of that. And after we fired her for poor number reporting, we looked into the systems, and my God, they had old systems. He said, do you believe they had people, hundreds of people or thousands of people, calling people on the phone and just trying to get random people in companies to answer questions about pricing? And where I used to work, Pedro, in Cincinnati a long time ago, we used to get those phone calls. They'd call and ask us, how much does an armored Cadillac cost? And we were like, what does this matter? We make up the prices. We literally went from one customer to another, and if that customer could pay more, we charge him more. It's the car business.
Wow.
And so he made fun of that, and he's like, we can use big data now. We can have real-time information instead of this monthly release. There's all kinds of great stuff that's going to come out. Trust us, we're gonna fix this. And they're starting that process with the moving onto the blockchain, that type of stuff. But Pedro, give me your concept of what the shrinking jobs market does. We talk about it a lot, but in the concept of the economy over the next year, what does that mean? It means bad shit. It means fewer people having jobs.
Well, it means more than that.
Yeah.
It means American shrinking jobs, which means that Americans don't have money to buy stuff. And the fact that we're about 25% of the world's GDP of buying stuff, it's a bad thing. Now, here's the thing. As America starts to descend into the reality in which we've actually been living in, the real numbers are being reported.
Yeah.
People are going to lose jobs. We're going to see stock prices come down. Tesla price is going to come down. We're going to see things kind of balance out. When this happens, people are going to lose houses because jobs are going to actually the losing of jobs is going to exacerbate. We're going to see things start to fall apart. But at the same time, China is going to fall apart. Multiple nations that rely on us buying their stuff is going to fall apart. And as that happens, you're going to see a restructuring of kind of going back to real fundamentals. And as that happens, then you'll see a balancing that comes in America's economy, and we'll actually be able to start to build real jobs again. And hopefully the US government doesn't funnel tens of thousands of dollars, or excuse me, not tens of thousands, but hundreds of billions of dollars into the economy, but puts that money into private sector jobs. And more importantly, and I keep hitting hard on this, like manufacturing jobs.
Oh,
if
exactly.
That can happen.
Exactly. Go ahead, finish your thought. But I wanted you to talk about this.
And if that can happen, then what's going to happen is there's going to be a new restructure throughout the world. And America, again, will be a kind of almost that shining light for people to strive to be and create a real like trade system that needs to happen.
Well,
and
Pedro, I think the important, I was waiting for you to bring up the manufacturing aspect of this. With unemployment going up, and we have people available to work. And I'm not talking about the people that are off the books now. I'm talking about people that are looking for a job. Even people that are in the vocational schools getting ready to come out and get a job. That manufacturing needs to be there to absorb them. Absorb these people and bring the jobs in. And what it means is that we actually have a topic about immigration to talk about. And this applies to Canada too. I'm speaking kind of for both countries here because I believe I can do that since I work and live in both. I live in the U.S. I visit Canada a lot, just for you immigration people. In that both countries, and Canada to a larger extent, brings in a lot of temporary foreign workers with a path to citizenship. There's a great problem going on right now where the youth unemployment in Canada is 12%. In the US, it's 10%. Yet, all the fast food restaurants are applying to bring in people from India and Pakistan and Bangladesh because they can't find workers, which is secret code for nobody will work for the price we want to pay them. And so what this is going to bring up an interesting election point in which the Democrats have been harping on this immigration thing over and over and over and over again. But with unemployment going up, first of all, they're going to be out there just blaming Trump, like, it's Trump's fault, blah, blah, blah. The problem has persisted long before the election. They won't be able to campaign on immigration anymore because people will be immigrating into the US and Canada to go on welfare, which was what they do in the UK, and has created a disaster. We don't want to follow that model at all. We can't do it, and they can't campaign on that. So the Democrats are shooting themselves in the head, essentially, not in the foot, in the head. If they go about saying we need more immigration, because clearly if you have unemployment, which is rising, in which they said we don't see any short-term stop to it either. until the economy, until all these investments that Mr. Trump has been promising start to work their way into actual, shovel-ready projects to start employing people, that unemployment's going to keep going up. And the unemployment demand, or the employment demand, will seemingly keep going down. So they'll still be in balance like the Fed said they would be. But there's still fewer jobs being wanted, and there's more people wanting jobs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's in balance. There's just less of it, and that's not good for a growing economy.
Well, and that's where we've been in, right? It's here's the thing, like they're just finally displaying the numbers here that are the correct numbers. We've been in this mess. We've already been. It's almost like, is the king naked? Right? Like, no, it's invisible clothes. But he's
now I got that Sinead O'Connor song stuck in my head. Emperor's New Clothes.
Oh yeah. I was thinking nothing else matters.
Nobody was thinking that. Now that song's stuck in my head.
Anyways, what's interesting is that as you look at where we're sitting right now, like it's just finally somebody just came out and said, like he's naked, and all of a sudden everybody kind of looks and starts laughing and goes, yeah, he's really naked. Right, like that's the part is that where we're at right now, but we actually have the numbers now, and they're reporting. And the other part that's going to be really interesting is like once people start losing houses. Now, do you remember the part I said? I played this. Remember on the thing on our show here where literally Carol was in The Big Short, and he calls up his guy, and he goes, is it as bad as it is? He goes, oh, it's worse. It's effing worse. This thing is effing worse. Like, it's like sell everything, right? Like, because he realized how bad it really was. Yet the market was at its all-time highs. This is what we're going to start seeing here right now. Is like people are going to start. It's the king's not wearing any clothes, and as things start to progress, the sad part behind it is, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to lose houses and jobs. Those jobs are going to start to hurt. It's going to hurt America for a while. I would say, I'm giving it 6 months. Trump, in that 6 months, needs to get manufacturing and all red tape removed, and he needs to funnel real jobs into the economy. I've been talking about this now for 8 months. 8 months here. And he's been in office since January. We're in August, September. I'm sorry. Yeah. So 8 months here. And I said he has a year and a half. He has a year and a half, because once that narrative really starts to push, he's got a couple months for those metrics to really pick up into the economy before midterm happens. And if midterms happen before we see a real economy that comes forth from it, then, or it comes forth from his initiation of causing real manufacturing jobs. And remember, manufacturing jobs create other jobs. That's why I keep hitting hard on, like, you need to push this. And I don't know if this was Bessent communicating with him before he became president, saying, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have to cause a crash because we need to take out two of our biggest competitors. One was going to be China, right? And then they were already going through a huge catastrophe already with the real estate industry just completely imploding on itself. Then in addition to that, they did a huge stimulus called the bazooka stimulus, which was like what we were trying to do with quantitative easing during early 2009, as we were just funneling money. They're doing that, but to no avail, because at least we had people to buy our stuff, right? Whereas with them, nobody's willing to buy their stuff. And the biggest portion of the people that are buying their stuff are these guys here in this place called United States of America. And the fact that we don't have real income, we're going to see basically a halting. They will fall apart. And I think this is what Bassett had to know this. Him and Lutnick had to know this. And when they were talking with Trump, they must have they must have said it's going to be really hard, but we're going to have to play this cat and mouse game. And everybody knew, like, I'm nobody smart. I am not that smart.
Pedro, come on.
Look, like, I'm not sitting there like, listen, I'm a sequential thinker. That's all it is. Sequential thinking, but literally saying, if this happens, then this will happen, and this will happen, and this will happen, right? And then start back at the base and go, well, what if that doesn't happen? And you can do 15, 20 of those, and you can just move it, and you can see which one is most likely to happen. And obviously, there's going to be a hodgepodge of this one switching to here. But what I'm saying though is this: when I think about the idea of jobs, they must have known that there was no real jobs there. They must have known. And so with that, they've sat there and said, if we can actually get that woman out of that place and then remove her, then it would have been good. And we all knew, everybody knew, who the purple and pink hair people are. Just saying, right? Like, the craziness of it and that mindset of like a global unity of nations, and that ability for us to finally like have a world utopian society is what they're wishing and hoping for. But it doesn't work out that way. And so ultimately, I think Bessent, a lot of these guys already knew what was actually happening. And in that, this is where they put the master plan together. And I was a little nervous about it, but they got to get those manufacturing jobs up and running. They have to. They got to.
And that's not a quick thing. I mean, that's not a quick thing at all. Unless you just start issuing contracts to people that run metal fabrication shops and all that type of stuff like today, and then they can start hiring people next week. But if you have to we need to build a factory, and we need to buy the semiconductor equipment from the Dutch and ship it over here, that takes 2 years. And then, maybe the factory might be ready, but the permits might not be ready. Oh, speaking of I was watching Donald Trump talk about California in their permit process post-fire, and he said, "Look, we'll get any permit you need in 30 days or under. We'll process it, get it taken care of. 30 days or under, and things that take a year or more. They're like." 30 days will get it done, so you can start rebuilding. And he made the state of California person, and he made the mayor of LA promise to do the same thing. So we'll get people building right away. The federal government came through. They have issued all their permits within a majority of them. There's some crazy ones, obviously, that some people have to worry about, like cliffs falling apart and shit like that. But the city of Los Angeles and the state of California completely failed and went right back into multi-year bureaucracy. And Trump ripped that Los Angeles mayor a new one. Anyway, that was my little side soliloquy on that.
No, but here's the part that we're going to have the issue with is what states are actually going to win out. So, for example, it's going to take them 2 years. Trump makes it very. It's taking you guys. You're saying it's going to take you 2 years to do this? Like, those people are going to leave your state.
Right.
And they're going to go to states where they can actually live. And California is sitting there, like, people. I know a lot of people. I come from California. Half of the people that I know who used to live in California left. Like, they're displaced. And a lot of them are in the South area, right? Because there's jobs there. Like, there's no way that they're going to stay their size. There's no way. I can't imagine it. And then that.
I can't either. I can't. I mean, the tax base that California is losing is incredible, and they're even trying to redraw their districts to gerrymander it better to make up for Texas's gerrymandering. But the government's going to be gerrymandering the federal government's going to be saying, hey, we're withdrawing, a couple more seats out of California because your population is decreasing.
Yeah. That's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if you start to see it go red. Just literally because even with all the blue help that comes in, like, at what point can you get blood out of a rock? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just just ain't gonna happen. Like, how are they gonna get their tax income coming in?
I don't know, Pedro, but it's time for a Rumble commercial break. And ladies and gentlemen, watching on YouTube and X and all those places, we'll be right back with you.
hard, it turns brittle. So I think that I think that we might see something come like that with the CCP if they keep going that route. And if America starts to implode on itself, Europe can't sustain everything that what China needs, because they built such a large beast in their system that it requires a lot of food for the economy to really go. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen. With that said,
hold on one second, Pedro. Welcome back, everyone watching on YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. Appreciate you sitting through the advertisement there. It's the top of the hour here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my name is Tom, and this man in the box next to me is Pedro Nostradamus. We call him Pedro Damas. Here on DYOR Live on the DYOR Media Network. The Dow Jones up 200, down 200, S&P down 36. The Russell and the VIX are up just a little bit. Not a lot of movement today, and you can see above my head that Bitcoin is still chilling in the 110 to 111 and 112 area. Anyway, Pedro, we've been talking about the labor market in the U.S. and what happens if things don't go according to plan. And you were just talking about the similar effect in China.
Go ahead, man. Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, I was trying to click the button to bring you up here.
Oh.
I'm just a little slow today. You know, I'm trying to keep this agenda going here. Anyway, but you mentioned bringing the jobs market down and the negative effects it'll have on the economy. The U.S. is, we're just going to round the numbers off here. The U.S. is a $30 trillion GDP. I think it's like 35 or 6 or whatever. We don't need the exact number. With 350 million people. Europe's got 450 million people, and their GDP is only 20 trillion. Now, with the contraction of the U.S., the U.S. contracts because we can't get our stuff together, and Europe will probably do a similar thing. China, which is making all of this stuff for us, our consumer economy, would see a massive turn down in jobs. I mean, it would be especially if we're trying to doing two things. We're shrinking, but we're trying to bring the jobs back. Now, there's millions and millions of those jobs, so we're not going to be able to bring them all back. But if we bring some back for some industries, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, that type of stuff, but our economy's still shrinking, and along with Europe, a couple of $1 trillion in stuff not bought from China would be devastating to their economy. And it could have political ramifications, like you just mentioned with, as we say, the proletariat in the Soviet word, people dealing with their authoritarian leader.
And that to me, I think, was probably one of the biggest things that it might have been a Trumpian move. I mean, we talked about things slowing down and then finally starting to report the real numbers. And then we started seeing, all right, they're just doing the same thing Biden. But now that they're actually reporting the real numbers, we could see a slowdown. And I think, and again, let me put on my tinfoil hat here. But I truly believe with the amount of money that was being put into AI in China and what they were doing and funneling money into a lot of our large Ivy League schools, they were able to change the narrative within the American mindset. But now that they don't necessarily have the funds, in a sense, to do that, I think we're going to see a drop in that mindset. And this all came around the same time period that Camille Paglia wrote her dissertation on the downfall of most, and this is a huge thing, a downfall of most societal structures throughout history was the advent and acceptance of the transgender mindset. And that was pretty much like within 50 to 100 years, you saw an economy and social society implode on itself. And so I really think that they read that paper, they saw it and was like, you know what, let's capitalize on that and use AI to push out this narrative in our enemy's economy. And so that's where I think we really did see a lot of the system kind of come about. And listen, they are tacticianists. I give it up. They are a formidable, enemy. As a nation, they're a frenemy, but really they want to see the downfall of the Western society. And with that said, they figured out a way to actually move things and get them set up in a way where they can get the upper hand. But it's a good thing we kind of caught them before they fully got the full system. So again, let me take off my tinfoil hat here and put it back on the side and go. With that said, our economy, by simply really looking at what's happening, we can now see that we're being rocked to sleep. We're being rocked to death, slow death is what was happening. But now we're seeing it. We're like, okay, let's really work on this now. And so it's almost like when Popeye is getting beat up, right? And he's just slowing down. And all of a sudden it's like, olive oil comes over and goes, Popeye, and she gives him his spinach. And he's like, boom, boom, let's go, right? Like, yeah, it's almost like those numbers are finally waking up America going, wait, things are really bad. Okay, so they're going to hold on to their money. We're going to slow down in the economy. We're going to see China and a lot of other places around the world really get hemorrhage as America restructures their system, gets up and running again. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of this. That's my view.
All right, let's we've talked a lot about that today. It's Friday. Let's talk about some more. Move into the fun things. The fun things are every day we get our fun scammer over on Twitch saying get some free views. But today we got someone that has it's called Dan Lee, but they write Victor Katrina, and they want us to come hang out with them.
Victor.
I don't think that's going to happen there. I don't think that's going to happen there. Crypto Unicorn refers back to, the Naked Show hosts when we were talking about the Emperor Has No Clothes. But more than the point, I want to bring up AI Alpha Wolf here. Walter is in another one of his myriad projects, and she's trying to conquer the world here. Strikeforce supports the communities that are truly building. Check out LNKO DYOR. I think he wrote DYIR, and he wrote a contract number. Normally in these things, you don't see people post contract numbers and links and that type of stuff. But we let Alpha Wolf do it because he's a good friend of the show and the projects that he's involved in. We send people over to do their own research and check it out for us. We don't. I personally don't know anything about this project, but I've known Walter for a while, and he's always trying to get ahead by getting involved in good projects. Anyway, Walter hopes all is going well in the great state of Illinois, the shitty state of Illinois. Depends what political party you are. If you're a Democrat, it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like wealthy and everything's great. And if you're a Republican, it's like it's awful. This billionaire governor that was born a billionaire is just ruining everything, and the mayor's the worst thing ever. And if you're a neutral person, it's still crap because you're getting carjacked all over the place, and your schools suck, and all the companies are leaving. But anyway. Walter, good luck there. I'm in Canada right now, but we'll be in the great state of Illinois in a couple of weeks here.
Well, also want to add in, this is the man who brought to us Moodang when Moodang was still at,
this is true.
4 million.
Yes. And yes, he did. And he said, I've been staying up late looking at the Asian charts and the Asian projects, and this Moodang one's going to hit.
And we were like, oh, okay. And forgot. And then the next time we looked at it, it was like 400 million.
Yeah, there's some hippo doing the $400 million dance.
Yep. And then it turned and got up to $1 billion. And I sat there and I said, my man, killing it. And so shout out to our guy out there. Appreciate you. And also he also brings us into a lot of cool little small communities. We love the meme coin small communities. I think they are the lifeblood of community building within crypto. I mean, don't forget that Shiba Inu started off, right? Doge started off as well, right? Small community that just built, got rugged, got built, got rugged, and then finally sent. So I'm just saying, shout out to the homies out there who are in the trenches. Keep it up. Shout out to DEFCON 7, my homies over there as well. They're grind and all the guys who are in the trenches just looking for the next big play. We appreciate you bringing it to the masses. Shout out.
Well, this is on Fridays. Normally we're talking to a big crowd here. Our crowd is smaller than normal today, but we do have a good 15 people watching us right now. Thank you very much. On Rumble. Actually, I have a couple more on YouTube running, and Twitch, Twitter, and X. They're bringing up the back end with a couple. So thanks to all of you. Whatever platform you're on, please hit that like, follow, share, whatever button. If you're watching on Rumble for the first time or haven't done this before, click that follow button. We've made it to 200 subscribers, and let's go back. I do want to check one thing for our stats here. I'd like to let the people know about this. We've already had 12 unique people chat in our chat this month. We need 8 more, and hopefully a whole bunch more will join us this month. And get us up to 300, Pedro. We want to go for 300 followers here, hopefully by the end of September. That would be nice. That would be nice. Set a goal for 300 subscribers by that. Now, we only have a few minutes left in the show, about 15 minutes left here. If you're a viewer and you want to ask us a question, please do so. So Pedro and I will break what we're talking about and go into it. But I think maybe the best thing for the end of the show here, just I want to bring up a news article that I saw real quickly, and then we can just hit some pricing on some what's going on with some things here. But I have this article in front of me that talks about Elon Musk, and you think he's the richest guy in the world. I mean, what would happen if it? if he had $1 trillion pay package. $1 trillion.
Trillion dollars.
Let's see if I can bring it up without crashing my computer here. Let's see here. Let's see if it comes up. Oh, things are running slow.
It's all good.
I'll have to do. There we go. Tesla's nearly $1 trillion new pay plan for Musk would expand its voting power. I mean, you can vote for a lot of shit with $1 trillion. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he would be the first trillion.
Imagine being the board and putting this to your shareholders. Tesla's board is asking investors to approve a new pay plan for CEO worth $975 billion. I'm sure much of that is, incentivized. If the company does whatever. Asking investors to approve yet another outsized pay package. The total pay package, $975 billion, is based on the maximum payout, assuming share count remains the same. The proposed plan for Musk, already the world's wealthiest, consists of 12 tranches of shares to be granted if Tesla hits certain milestones over the next decade. We'll give him increased voting power, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. We want him motivated and focused on delivering for the company. That's the way to focus you.
Yeah. Well, with $1 trillion, man, I mean, you in essence literally could set up a
new world on Mars.
I mean, literally, like that's exactly like you're going to the point that I'm talking about, is that at that level, like that's not even FU money. That's like that is at such another level.
That's build churches for me and worship me money. That's what that is.
Like that's like, that is stupid money. I mean, it was FU money when he's sitting at 300 billion, like 200 billion, 100. At that point, 1% annually that you would make, which he does a lot better than 1%. Like you're still dealing with 100 billion. You're making 1 billion a year. I mean, in cash. Thank you. Have a good day. I mean, the man literally, when he paid taxes on some of his stuff, was one of the biggest payer of taxes ever. Ever. Like he paid more taxes than all of the other wealthy people combined. It was crazy.
I know.
It was like he's like, I pay more taxes than all of y'all. Get off of me.
We need to tax the rich. They don't pay their fair share. Elon paid billions and billions of dollars in taxes, and he didn't try and weasel his way out of it. He's like, all right, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And not only that, but his company, Tesla and SpaceX and all his other little companies, they pay so much in tax. They pay payroll tax. Their employees get all the big salaries, and they buy stuff and consume stuff. The tax generated from this one man starting stuff is revolutionary. It truly is revolutionary. It's unbelievable.
Listen, I'll put it like this. The biggest fumble, right, legitly, that California has done is letting Elon go. Like, it was one of those moments that your own pride, like, it's like, I'm trying to think of a bigger thing of magnitude. I mean, I was going to use Super Bowl, but I was like, I was going to use what Kaepernick kept. Remember how he kept fumbling and kept messing up? But even then, like, it just doesn't even compare. Like, just, it's one of those things that it's like such a huge fumble, such a huge mess up. Watching that man go from California, and it was like, look, give me a break or I'm going to go over here. And he gave them warning after warning. And then finally he was just like, deuces, I'm done. We're done.
We are out. I'm throwing in my chips. I'm throwing in my cards. I'm folding. Got to know when to fold them. He said, I'm folding them. It's going to cost me a lot to move this operation out. He has a big factory in, what is it, Long Beach or one of those towns?
Long. Oh, wait, the one in,
yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, this is a fully functioning factory that he built to converted another company's, like one of the Hughes plants or whatever. into his own plant. It's a big investment. It's a big industrial area. There's great suppliers down there. I looked at, when I was looking at opening a business in California a long time ago, I went and checked it out. The suppliers down there are fantastic for manufacturing, but they're all leaving. And then SpaceX says, we're going to build our rocket thing in Texas, and we're going to build a massive one in Florida too. And not only, I mean, there's practical reasons. One, they're on that side of the Panama Canal to barge these things around. But all our tax money, it's mind-boggling. And the people in the California legislature are like, whatever, we don't need you rich guys anyway. And then all of a sudden they have a tax problem.
Yeah, not just a tax problem, but it's starting to implode on itself. And this is the beautiful part about America, is that when a state starts to be so stupid in the way they manage, like I had a foster father, he goes, this is the issue, is do you run a country like a business, or do you run it like a government? And I go, yes. And I remember like walking that through my head going, it's not should be one or the other. It should be both. I mean, and I remember like as a kid going, well, like I think taking care of the orphan, the widow, the person who can't take care of themselves, like legitimately can't, those are important, right? And then the alien, the individual that is coming over and saying, hey, look, I need to lead my country because I'm trying to do something right and they're coming after me. And so I need immunity here. Will you guys take me? And we'll go, yo, absolutely. The fact that you're trying to be a leader, blah, blah, blah. That was the point of the immunity for illegal immigrants, right? To sit there and say, right, I'm being persecuted. I think that established was for a reason, but that got abused. Jumping back to the topic at hand, governments need to handle that. I think that's a really important thing for them to do. But when they start to do like just dumb things like, hey, we want to mutilate little children because they think that they're a boy or a girl, and on the back end, like we want the US or we want our taxpayers to do this. This is one of those moments that you're like, no, like let them handle that. No. And so all that said was, when I look at the overall arching aspect of our government and what it's doing, we're finally coming back to some middle ground. And if we can get manufacturing jobs with robots being built, with all these other dope stuff happening, we could come back. Long story short, have you seen the new pneumatic robot from, they're actually creating like blood. It's like, it looks like the dude. What are your thoughts?
I saw this one.
It's all white, right?
And it doesn't have like one big motor to move the arm. It has like a zillion little ones that mimic muscle fibers.
Yes.
I was like, right away, the dudes over at Vivid Entertainment in Southern California were like, this looks like
bro, how do you even think about that? Oh man, why, bro? Why do you have to go there?
This is the new 6000X jerk-off machine. It's got a natural feel.
I want to throw up now. Well.
Anyway, with that topic aside, there's some amazing stuff coming along. But the important part of what we're talking about today is the jobs numbers, and we harp about this a lot, and maybe we don't talk enough crypto on this show, but lately this is one of the most important topics because we need our economy to succeed. And while the jobs numbers are going down, politicians have to stop arguing about that and start working together to get it going around. President Trump made a great argument the other day. He said I could give the Democrats a budget that lowered everybody's taxes by half, increased services by 2 times, made everybody have unicorn farts and wealthy and everything they possibly want, and I would still not get a single vote for it because they just need to say that I am bad and everything that is around me is awful too. And this is Trump saying, I made up unicorn farts, but these are his words. And he said we need to, if you can believe Donald Trump saying we need to come together and get some things done here. This is one of them. This is one of the things that they need to come together and fix. The Democrats need to say, all right, we do need more jobs in the U.S. And understand that that is a truth. That is not a political thing. And just saying, oh, well, we need to let China handle all the manufacturing and we can just do research and innovation. That's not how it works. Because then they'll catch up on the research and innovation, and then we'll be like Switzerland. We'll have a bunch of money, but everyone's not doing anything. Ends up, then it moves to like Greece, where everyone's on the government dole, and that's not what we want either. And so all of this talk being said, well, hold on one second. All this being said is that this affects your bags. But the problem is a lot of it, if you're invested in Bitcoin and other things that inflate, against the US dollar in pricing, in the short term, it's kind of good for you. It's really weird.
Well, this is the part that's really dope, right? And dude, think about it like this, right? US dollars inflating. We're seeing things happen. We're seeing the US debt inflate. It's absolutely getting crazy nuts, right? Like the fact is that your dollar doesn't buy anything, or it's buying 98% less than what it did, 100 years ago or whatever, right? And when you look at the idea where we're sitting at, it's not going to slow down anytime soon. And especially with an imploding economy, things are actually going, it will exacerbate what we're currently in right now. Now, on the back end though, if you hold crypto, and you've been holding it for you've been buying in even the last 4 years, 5 years, you literally have a hedge. Don't sell it. And as things start to get even worse, you will see an increase. And when I've talked about this, how right now we're going to see this correlation, right? The correlation that correlates with the traditional markets, okay? But at one point in time, what's going to happen is U.S. market is going to start dropping, and then crypto will start to, and then what happens is you'll see this. Right? And that correlation. So right now we've talked about, I'm expecting to see that this happen. And the reason why is, one, there's a difference between stable coins and crypto. There's a difference between CBDCs and stable coins. And the reality is is many coins out there, right, hold other assets that are real assets. And their biggest asset is literally ingenuity and the efficiency aspect behind it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for us crypto holders.
I am too. And especially us crypto traders that can play on the volatility that's going to be inherent in the markets here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for a great week here. We really appreciate it. We had some great viewership on Rumble this week. Talked about some great topics. Watched Bitcoin trade in the idiot box all week and tried to get out of it, but it really didn't get out of its way of itself. We started out with a holiday week in the first place, holiday Monday here, and then we had non-farm payroll on Friday. It leads to a strange trading week, and it certainly was. And even the big moves of today with these rotten numbers, when you zoom out, are not big numbers at all for the markets. But as always, we had a great time. We'll be here next week too with a whole slate of shows and great topics for everybody involved. And of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst over here. Thank you very much for a great week, sir. Look forward to more good stuff next week. As always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted another great episode of this show. We'll see you guys next week, so be there.
Thank you.